Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Monday, July 17th, 2023. On Friday's Z107.7 Up Close show, host Gary Daigneault spoke with Chair of the County Board of Supervisors, Don Rao, who discussed the ramifications of the state's recently passed Western Joshua Tree Conservation Act. She explained that the legislation, which aims to protect the threatened Western Joshua Tree, is still being executed at all levels of government, and explained how it will grant certain local authorities the ability to grant permits that allow for the destruction or removal of the Western Joshua Tree.
So it's passed, it's been signed into law now, but it hasn't been implemented in the sense that we don't know. It delegates authority for multifamily, like apartment buildings, and single-family homes, both accessory dwelling structures as well as the main home. The delegation of authority can come to jurisdictions like Yucca Valley or the county or Palmdale, Lancaster, Hesperia, Apple Valley, anybody like that, for 10 trees or less for permitting if the jurisdiction accepts the authority. If not, it stays at the state.
Rao clarified that local authorities will not be able to grant permits for commercial, industrial, or public works projects, an authority that will remain with the state. She went on to discuss permitting fees, saying,
the take fee, what we call the permit fee, if you will,
right,
to either move or transplant or destroy a tree, has been set under that legislation. But if the delegation of authority comes to the town or the county, we will have costs to implement that program that will be in addition to those fees.
Asked when permitting for Western Joshua trees might begin at the state or local levels, Rao replied,
I would think by the end of this calendar year, we'll have a much better sense of jurisdictions that want to opt in, opt out, and what it would mean for us if we opted in. Our land use department is already understaffed right now for just normal permitting of projects.
You can hear the full interview with Supervisor Rao by listening to the Up Close show as a podcast at Z107.7fm.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Despite the appointment of new board director Lance Fisher at Friday's special meeting of the Morongo Valley Community Services District Board of Directors, the board is still short one member, as Director Michael Emery has resigned. The CSD oversees the Morongo Valley Fire Department and Covington Park and has struggled to fulfill their duties in 2023 because of conflict with board members and within the community. Emery, whose inability to appear at scheduled board meetings has prevented the board from meeting since March, submitted his resignation to the county late Thursday afternoon. He and two other board directors, Jennifer Henning and James Whitney, were facing a recall effort, and all have resigned since that March meeting. Last Tuesday, the County Board of Supervisors appointed Lynn Watts to the Morongo Valley CSD Board. With Watts in place, the board scheduled Friday's special meeting solely to make their own appointment to the board. Among 6 candidates, 5 of whom spoke at the meeting, the CSD Board of Directors appointed Lance Fisher to the board. Lance Fisher is a lifelong resident of Morongo Valley, a plumber, and a volunteer. Fisher said,
"It is really humbling. I think it's a great opportunity to do good by the community."
With 2 new appointments, the CSD directors said they were eager to get back to work at this Wednesday's regularly scheduled meeting. Director Johnny Tolbert said that the CSD's budget has not been looked at since February and is due to the state by a revised deadline of August 10th. He said the board expects to consider Emery's vacant seat at August 16th's meeting. On Sunday in Wonder Valley, the Dale Basin Well Owners Association held their twice-yearly meeting. Here's reporter Stacy Soley with the details.
There is no centralized water distribution in Wonder Valley. With Matt Schrag, general manager of the 29 Palms Water District, attending as the guest speaker, residents used the chance to ask him what it would take to connect into the system. Schrag explained that extensions are usually initiated by developers or a group of homeowners and need to go through LAFCO, or the Local Agency Formation Commission. Costs for extending the main line are paid for by the new water users, and a recent extension, for example, tallied out to about $120 per foot. Given the low number of residents in Wonder Valley, Schrag said it was unlikely to be financially feasible. Later in the meeting, Association President Chancey Chambers demonstrated how to extend the life of a well by maintaining the right pressure in what's called the captive air tank. If the pressure is improperly set, the pump will turn on and off too often, and the motor will quickly degrade. That can be a $3,000 to $7,000 mistake, Chambers said. This is Stacey Soley reporting from Wonder Valley.
Expect delays on 29 Palms Highway east of 29 Palms this week as Caltrans continues work on State Route 62. Caltrans has said that they will be working on the asphalt rehabilitation project between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. this week. Delays are expected to be 15 minutes, and the closure will be between the city of 29 Palms and Vidal Junction. The California Highway Patrol will be on hand to assist with traffic control and safety. For updates on closures, you can sign up to receive emails from Caltrans at a link in this story at Z107.7fm.com. The regular monthly Homestead Valley Community Council meeting scheduled for this afternoon has been canceled. The Homestead Valley Community Council will next meet on Monday, August 21st at 3 p.m. in Yucca Mesa at the Yucca Mesa Community Center. The 29 Palms Cemetery District Board of Trustees meets in regular session tomorrow afternoon. On the agenda is the adoption of a final budget for 2023-2024, as well as reviews of finances and staff operations. There will be time, as always, for comments from the public. The board meets tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. at 5350 Encina Avenue in 29 Palms. And finally, the National Defense Authorization Act supports a total of $886 billion in national defense funding for the 2024 fiscal year. And this year, that includes a pay increase for service members as well as some high desert specific provisions. Online news editor Robert Hayden is here with more.
The 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, was passed by the U.S. House of Representatives, and a provision authored by Congressman Jay Obernolte protects the annual King of Hammers event, which takes place on shared use land in Johnson Valley. In 2022 alone, 80,000 people attended the multi-day off-road competition. The Johnson Valley shared use area currently generates more than $71 million annually for the local economy, according to the Bureau of Land Management. And according to a press release by Obernalte's office, the NDAA also secures important wins for high desert military bases and their surrounding communities as it increases support services on remote or isolated bases, such as the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center in 29 Palms. The bill provides a 5.2% pay increase for service members, the largest increase in more than 20 years, and authorizes over $240 million to reduce service member out-of-pocket housing expenses and counteract the rising cost of rent. It also expands reimbursements available to military spouses for relicensing or business costs when service members transfer locations and significantly reduces DoD child care fees for military families. You can see a link to Representative Obernalte's press release, including full details of the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, at this story on our website, Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Robert Hayden.
That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear news happening, let us know about it. Email us at tips@Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmatz.